Lisa Breza. Through her work as a nurse and as an executive with the Cancer Institute of New Jersey at Hamilton, Lisa Breza helps women who are dealing with cancer to become empowered and to take control of their diagnosis. Lisa was born and raised in New Jersey, in a home that valued education, hard work, family, and community. She graduated from the College of New Jersey with a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing and received her Master's in Nursing degree with a certificate in teaching from Thomas Edison State University. Her career as a registered nurse began 30 years ago on a medical surgical unit in the acute care setting at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, Hamilton. Lisa moved to the emergency department and eventually became its director. Lisa then took on the role of Director of Outpatient Services and later tackled the rewarding role of Executive Director of the Cancer Institute of New Jersey, Hamilton. In 2009, Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, Hamilton was without a chief nursing officer. Lisa approached the hospital leadership and offered to assume the role on an interim basis while continuing her other duties. This led to her current position as Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer of Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, Hamilton. When Lisa thinks about leadership and the YW's tribute to women, the women she has met who have battled breast cancer come to mind. Lisa was recently asked why breast cancer gets so much attention. She believes it is because women are born leaders who have taken control of the disease. Lisa feels fortunate to have Deborah Cardello as her mentor. Deborah saw Lisa's strengths and encouraged her to take advantage of them. Lisa says, "Ms. Cardello taught me to speak up, treat everyone with dignity and respect, be open-minded, always pursue knowledge and understanding, promote self-awareness and educational development for all, surround myself with the right people, take time for self-reflection, and never settle for the status quo." Lisa notes that all leaders have a great influence on a mission. She believes closed-mindedness and the lack of inclusion are the greatest barriers. Each of us has the power to make it our own mission to know what you don't know. The ability to look beyond oneself allows one to understand the unique values and challenges that are critical for eliminating racism. Outside of her career, Lisa's interests include volunteering at local community organizations along with hospital events. She is a board member for the American Lung Association. Lisa and Alan, her husband of 37 years, have 2 children, Erica and Marissa, and 2 grandchildren, Jai and Gavin. Lisa has never forgotten where she came from. Being true to oneself leads to trust from others.
Stacey Gerds McLeese. Stacey Gerds McLeese is a champion for victims of domestic violence and works tirelessly on behalf of those children who are affected by it. Stacey received dual bachelor's degrees in political science and law and justice from Trenton State College and earned her law degree in 1994 from Seton Hall Law School. After law school, Stacey clerked with the Honorable Linda R. Feinberg and later began her career as an assistant prosecutor in Burlington County, working with defendants who violated domestic violence restraining orders. She then moved to the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, serving with the Chief of Domestic Violence Unit, and Stacey currently serves with the Homicide Task Force. She has a love of travel and adventure, which began during her time in college and law school when she studied abroad in Australia and Italy. Her love for travel continues today as she travels with her husband, Dean McLeese. Stacey's mother, Frances Gerds, has been the most important female mentor in her life. Her mother's kindness and generosity instilled in her a sense of service, and Stacey has been giving back to her community since grammar school. She has volunteered with the Project Freedom Equestrian Program, led a summer program for teens living with disabilities, served as president of the Hamilton Kiwanis Club, and provided community service for members of ARC, an organization for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. A former trustee of the Mercer County Bar Association, Stacey currently serves as co-chair of its Community Events Committee. She has served on New Jersey Supreme Court Committee's Domestic Violence Working Group, the New Jersey Advisory Council on Domestic Violence, and the Trenton Advisory Commission on Domestic Violence. Stacy works side by side with the staff of Women's Space, Mercer County's domestic violence and sexual assault shelter and counseling organization. She is grateful to Pat Hart, the executive director of Women's Space, for this nomination. Stacy believes leadership means leading by example, and leading by example means much more than simply talking about getting something done. Never afraid of a challenge or a battle, Stacy's parents taught her to stand up for herself, but to always argue respectfully, and that she does every day.
Shannon Swilly Greco. Shannon Swilly Greco grew up in Houston, Texas, the daughter of a dentist and an artist. She was raised on her parents' tales of exotic adventure and distant lands. Her mother, the biggest influence in her life, passed on to Shannon a love of travel and learning about other cultures, a respect for all living things, and a sense of silliness. When Shannon was 15, the family moved to Saudi Arabia. Living in Saudi Arabia was like living in Mayberry, surrounded by a wall. Inside the wall, she led the life of a typical angsty American teen. On the outside of that wall were Arabic bazaars, restaurants where no women were allowed, and beaches where women covered themselves from head to toe in flowing black fabric. Because of the restrictive society, Shannon was sent to boarding school in Switzerland. She did well in school and stayed out of trouble, largely because of the influence of her cousin Kara, an academic overachiever and pilot of the U.S. Air Force's biggest cargo plane. Kara taught her that it was cool to be responsible, smart, and strong. Shannon received her bachelor's degree from the University of Arizona. She wanted to travel, so she majored in international studies. No one told her she could be a scientist and still travel. For a brief period, Shannon lived in Mali with a family while she studied how public education served Mali's 14 distinct ethnic groups. To fund her travel, she began working after college for Dr. Dan Steinberg, a Princeton University education director in science and engineering. Through her work with Dr. Steinberg, a wonderful mentor, Shannon became aware of the need for better science education in this country. She decided to stay in New Jersey, convinced that the best way to help the most underserved was to give them the tools to solve problems and think critically, as scientists do. Shannon Greco has been a science educator for the past 12 years. She is passionate about science education and brings that passion to her work at the Princeton Plasma Physics Laboratory. Shannon has found a supportive mentor in Andrew Zwicker, the lab's head of science education, who encourages her to take on leadership opportunities. She has worked on numerous programs to educate young people in science, particularly young women and young people of color. Shannon recently worked to establish the YWCA Princeton's first Lego robotics team for girls. She also established and ran an energy camp for students from Trenton Central High School. In 2003, the same year she started working at Princeton University, Shannon met her future husband, Scott Greco. Scott is truly her life partner who cheers her on, pushes her to achieve more, and is an amazing father to their two beautiful boys.
Lenora Green. Lenora Green is the Executive Director of the Educational Testing Service Center for Advocacy and Philanthropy. In this role, she oversees philanthropy, social investment, community relations, and employee engagement. Lenora also focuses on education advocacy by building and managing strategic relationships and partnerships with key national, regional, and local organizations. Together, these organizations work to promote educational improvement initiatives for disadvantaged groups in order to further the ETS mission of advancing quality and equity in education. During her career at ETS, Lenora has worked tirelessly to raise awareness of the educational disparities that exist in our communities and to identify ways in which ETS can address those challenges. Lenora is currently leading a major initiative with Rutgers University Camden that addresses the challenges and barriers facing girls of color and has worked to help support a Children's Defense Fund Freedom School in Trenton and Camden. Several years ago, Seeing the underrepresentation of economically disadvantaged students in college study abroad programs, Lenora worked on the establishment of a major study abroad initiative with the late Senator Paul Simon of Illinois. That initiative is now known as the Senator Paul Simon Study Abroad Foundation Act. Lenora was named by the publication Diverse Issues in Higher Education as one of the top 25 most influential women in America who are making a difference in higher education. Active on the national level as well as in her local community, Lenora serves on the National Urban League's Advisory Council on College Access and Success. She also serves on the advisory board of the Association of Public and Land Grant Universities Office of Access and Success, the advancement of public Black universities and Hispanic serving institutions. Lenora is active in the National Advisory Committee for the College Board's A Dream Deferred Conference. And she is on the Advisory Council of Parents Step Ahead, a Texas-based nonprofit organization that focuses on family and community engagement in schools. Lenora credits her mother, the late Isabel Miller Alexander, with instilling in her the importance of family, community service, and education as a pathway out of poverty. A talker from an early age, she would tell her elementary school classmates the importance of helping those who are less fortunate. Her activism and service continued in high school, where she served on the Student Government Executive Board and wrote for the school newspaper. She was instrumental in establishing the school's first Black Culture Club to raise awareness of the contributions of African Americans. She and other club members organized the first MLK commemorative service in their community. Lenora's two favorite quotes are from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" And from President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who said, "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have too much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little." Lenora earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from Douglas College at Rutgers University. Of all her accomplishments, Lenora is most proud of raising her son Nelson.
Sharon Pfluger. In collegiate athletics, Sharon Pfluger is an iconic figure at the local, regional, and national levels. Her storied success is a result of her loyalty and her unwavering passion for teaching and developing female athletes. Sharon has been a source of tremendous pride at the College of New Jersey for more than 3 decades. A 1982 graduate of Trenton State College, Sharon took over the Lions field hockey program in the fall of 1985 and the lacrosse program in the spring of 1986. During her coaching career, she has captured 20 NCAA Division III national championships. Her first national title came in her rookie season as the field hockey coach in 1985. Sharon's most recent national championship was claimed in the fall of 2014, when she was also named the Division III National Coach of the Year by the National Field Hockey Coaches Association. This fall, Sharon reached a milestone that no other head coach in the history of college sports has achieved. Sharon registered her 1,000th career combined victory. She now owns a career coaching record of 1,012 wins, 152 losses, and 10 ties, a winning percentage of 86.4%. While the number of coaching honors Sharon has received is staggering, most recently she was selected as the 2015 National Field Hockey Coaches Association South Atlantic Regional Coach of the Year and the 2015 New Jersey Athletic Conference Coach of the Year. Success began for Sharon as a player herself at Trenton State College, now the College of New Jersey. Sharon has often said that her desire for her athletes to experience what she did is what drives her each and every day on the practice and playing fields. At the NCAA headquarters in Indianapolis, Sharon's picture hangs in the NCAA Hall of Champions between 2 other coaching legends, Knute Rockne and Dean Smith. Along with legendary women's basketball coach Pat Summitt, Sharon is only one of 2 female coaches to be honored on that wall. Sharon was inducted in the U.S. National Lacrosse Hall of Fame in 2007, and the National Field Hockey Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2003. On November 15, 1992, Sharon became the first woman honored by the Trenton Select Committee, and in 1995 she was honored with the B. Marwick Award for Outstanding Support and Service to the sport of women's lacrosse. In the summer of 1997, Sharon joined 4 other women in the New Jersey Lacrosse Foundation Hall of Fame's charter class. A devoted mother of 3, Sharon has 2 sons, Augie and Jonah, ages 20 and 18, and daughter Kylie, who is 14.
Jane Silverman. Jane often says, "Life is a tapestry of many threads woven together to create rich experiences and enduring relationships." Growing up in Trenton, Jane learned from her parents that with privilege comes an obligation to give back to your community. Jane attended Miss Fine's School, the precursor to Princeton Day School, where community service was an essential part of the curriculum. Jane received her Bachelor of Arts degree in 1967 from Harvard-Radcliffe University and her master's degree in city planning from the University of Pennsylvania in 1970. Jane is a founding partner of the Training Management Corporation, a global business consulting firm. Her late husband, Ira Silverman, influenced Jane's decision to make a transition to the nonprofit world in the late 1990s. She is now an organizational consultant for nonprofit organizations. Jane's clients range from large organizations like the American Civil Liberties Union and Physicians for Human Rights to local groups including the Princeton Symphony Orchestra, the Trenton Museum Society, and Kidsbridge Tolerance Museum. In 1979, Jane and her husband partnered with another couple to help 2 Vietnamese families resettle in the Princeton area. Jane will always be grateful to the YWCA Princeton for the support they provided to these families. Jane is immensely proud of her children, who have become wonderful adults and parents, and of her 7 beautiful grandchildren. Jane is a believer in the servant leader model of leadership. This means leading with empathy and by empowering others, whether they be individuals or organizations. Jane notes that in today's world, much of the discourse is about fear, exclusion, and self-interest. Deep cultural, social, and economic forces have hindered the elimination of racism and empowerment of women. But at the end of the day, it is each of us, working as individuals and collectively, who can bring about change to help individuals and communities become the best they can. While not a deeply observant Jew, she does take seriously the Jewish obligation of Tikkun Olam to repair the world. At the annual Passover Seder, we are reminded that though we were once strangers in the land of Egypt, we welcome our home to others.
Elizabeth Protidge Walsh. A successful and caring banker, Elizabeth Protidge Walsh graduated from Princeton University in June of 1988 with a degree in history, and in September she began the credit training program at Chemical Bank in New York. Shortly thereafter, Beth began her career as a private banking credit analyst at Chemical Bank's headquarters, moving up to a banking officer position before transferring to Princeton in 1992. Throughout her 23 years on the Princeton team, Beth has helped steer the office through many changes, including the acquisition of the office by PNC in 1995 and the dramatic evolution of the banking business over the past few decades. Her contributions have been recognized along the way, and she currently serves as Senior Vice President of the PNC's Princeton office. In 2007, Beth won the PNC Performance Award, the company's highest honor, given each year to just 8 of PNC's 60,000 employees. On the job, Beth's greatest pleasures include surprising a client or teammate with a solution that no one thought possible, having a client tell her that her involvement in the client's personal financial life has transformed it for the better, and taking joy in knowing that the tasks she just finished could not have been done with greater care and consideration. For the past 15 years, Chris Lockhammer, her boss and nominator, has been her mentor. Beth says, I have learned from Chris that being myself is the best thing I can do to be successful. Always eager to jump in to help someone in need, she loves working behind the scenes to coach someone else to success. Beth feels that it was almost an accident that she became a leader among her peers, and treasures those times when things come together for a moment of shared success. She says, I truly want to share my experience, good or bad, to make it easier for others to succeed. Beth takes great pride in using her skills to give back to the community. She serves as a volunteer on the Princeton Public Library Foundation and previously served on the board of the Corner House Foundation. But it is her role as a late-in-life mother to 5.5-year-old Maeve that is most rewarding. Elizabeth proudly says, like any kid her age, she has her moments, but she's observant, intuitive, insightful, and deeply empathetic. She is keenly aware of how lucky she is to grow up in a comfortable home in Princeton, and she is always trying, in her own sweet way, to help others who are less fortunate. I hope that she is a reflection of everything I have tried to be.
Marcia Wood. Marcia Wood, who holds a degree from the Westminster Choir College of Rider University, has spent the past 25 years engaging Trenton's children in music. After serving in administrative positions for the Princeton Pro Musica and the Princeton Youth Orchestra, she co-founded the Trenton Community Music School in 1999, and before that, in 1990, the Trenton Children's Chorus. Marcia grew up in Princeton and was fortunate to sing in the renowned Princeton High School choir. Choral singing has been a thread through Marcia's life, from Princeton High School through college to an army chapel in Germany where her husband was stationed. When the family moved back to Princeton in 1975, Marcia enrolled in a master's degree program at Westminster Choir College, where she spent many happy years singing under such great conductors as Leonard Bernstein, Robert Shaw, and Riccardo Muti. Marcia's love for music, children, and Trenton, as well as her organizational skill, finally came together in the formation of the Children's Chorus and the Community Music School. Changing young urban lives through music has been her focus and passion for the past 25 years. Marcia believes women leaders are collaborative and creative, and they should rely on those strengths to succeed. At each stop along the way of her life, Marcia learned how to be an arts administrator by stepping in where there was a need. Marcia often says, sometimes the best leadership training is on-the-job training, and that path is not a straight one. Marcia's most important female mentor is Sue Ellen Page, Director of Choirs for Children and Youth at the Nassau Presbyterian Church. Working with Sue Ellen to create, from scratch, a chorus for children in Trenton, they learned together by hard experience what not to do, how not to treat families in poverty, and how to change well-laid plans on the fly. But the most important lesson Marcia learned from Sue Ellen was a commitment to quality. Urban children can sing Bach, and creating beautiful music together will teach them how to learn, how to grow, and how to work towards a common goal. Marcia says, could it be that the greatest barrier to eliminating racism and empowering women is our low expectations of those who we seek to help? Do we reach down rather than lift up? The more we expect of them, the more they will rise to the expectation.